Alright everyone, welcome to Arsenal Fan TV, and in this video I'm going to be previewing our upcoming game against Queen's Park Rangers at Loftus Road this Wednesday evening, and we go into it on the back of the 2-0 victory against Everton, and we couldn't really be playing this game at a better time. In truth, when I was talking about that game against Everton, when I was previewing that a couple of days ago, I honestly did forget about this game because I kept thinking that we only had the Everton game to really build some momentum before going into that game at Old Trafford. And I think this midweek game before going into the fixture at Manchester United on Monday evening, it comes at a perfect time, because if we can get two convincing and comfortable wins under our belt before heading to Old Trafford, it's going to do us a whole load of confidence, and that defeat against Monaco, however bad it is starting to be eradicated from our minds, and we're allowed to focus on what actually really is important to us at this moment in time. And if we were to get a win, we would only go a couple of points behind Manchester City. If they were to maybe slip up against Leicester, which is unlikely, but if it were to happen, we're only 4 points behind them as it is. And you know, we could potentially finish second, which is, I can't quite believe I'm saying that, finishing second in the Premier League. It's not first. I mean, we could make a late title surge, but finishing second would be an excellent season for me. If we were able to finish second, it would have been nice to have had a good Champions League run, but unfortunately that's gone out the window now. And if we were able to retain the FA Cup, that would have been a good season for me. It shows steady progress. So if we can take this opportunity to get a top 2 finish, be monumental for us, and if anything, that's going to attract more signings in the summer, bigger players, and it would just be crucial for us to do that. But this game at Loftus Road is not going to be an easy one. I remember a couple of seasons ago, before QPR went down, we beat them 1-0, I think it was, for a Theo Walcott goal right in a couple of opening minutes really in that game. It was an unconvincing win, and the season before that we did lose to them thanks to an Adel Taarabt goal. And at home, they've been fairly good this season under Harry Redknapp, who's now, of course, departed the club. They've got Chris Ramsey. I'm not too sure what to expect from them at Loftus Road. Of course, they did end their torrid away form with a 2-0 victory at the Stadium of Light a couple of weeks ago, which is going to give their team a whole load of confidence. But they still haven't looked entirely convincing under Chris Ramsey. And like I say, I don't really know what to expect from them. I'm still trying to really make a verdict on their style of play and how they're going to perform in this game. I think Ramsey will take a lot of inspiration from the performance that Monaco put in at the Emirates Stadium. I think that they're going to line up defensively. They're going to try and catch us on the break, because they do have the players up top to do that. They've got players like Bobby Zamora, Sean Wright-Phillips, etc. Players that can expose you at times. No matter what you think of these players, at times Bobby Zamora especially, like this, are dangerous and they can cause you problems. Of course, Charlie Austin, the main man up top for them, very dangerous, and they've got a fairly good attacking force. Their midfield isn't the best at the moment. I think they've got Sandro coming back into this game. I think they're still missing players like Isla. I think they're missing Richard Dunn for this game, so we can expose them defensively, but the midfield is where I think we need to be taking control of this game. With Sandro coming back into the side, it's going to give them a little bit more defensive stability. He's going to be able to protect their back four, but he's still not the greatest of players, and certainly a player that I would expect our attacking and creative players to expose. We've got an influx of creative talent in this game. Certainly a team that can score past an out-of-date Rio Ferdinand and a Stephen Corker that hasn't really been performing very well this season. A lot of rotation that I'd expect in the Arsenal team, and although we did rotate quite significantly against Everton at the weekend, I think it's key that we rest our stature players for the game against Manchester United. So I would like to see Alexis Sanchez rested for this game. Possibly I'd like to see Olivier Giroud rested for this game. But just brushing on the topic of why I'd like to see those players rested, I think mainly because we need them at their best. There's no point risking injury, but you could also argue that we want these players to go into that game at Old Trafford with confidence. Giroud, of course, he got the goal of the weekend and had a poor performance against Monaco, but I still think that he'd be able to go into the game against United with his head held high, with a big ego behind him. Alexis Sanchez, on the other hand, hasn't really had the best of months in February. Hasn't really been banging in the goals left, right, and centre, left, right, and centre, should I say, as we've become accustomed to seeing from him this season. Been a fairly out of sorts month. He's had a couple of injuries. He's not been putting in the performances that we've come to expect, but his work ethic is tireless, and he seems to be inspirational on the pitch. He's the kind of player that I do think could perform in this game and perform in a game at Old Trafford, but I think if we're to get the best out of him in the game against United, I think it's vital that we give him a rest in this game. Although on the other hand, if he was to play in this game, if he was to get a goal and an assist, then maybe he'd be more ramped up for that game against Man United in a week's time, in fact. So it's a difficult one who you drop for this game. I'd like to see Cazorla dropped. He's not dropped, rested. Got to emphasise that. he's a player that just he looks incredibly tired. I know how key he is. He's been I think in my opinion our best player bar Mesut Ozil etc. Of 2015. I think it's crucial that he's rested for that game against United. I want to see the best out of him in this game. If he's got a week or so to rest for that game, we'll be seeing him at his best. I think it's key that we rotate the squad significantly in this game at QPR. So the team that I would like to see in full is Ospina in goal, Callum Chambers at right back, Koscielny, Gabriel, Monreal, Coquelin, Walcott, Rosicky, Ozil, Oxlade-Chamberlain and Danny Welbeck playing in that striker's role. You may be asking, why haven't I dropped Mesut Ozil if I'm going to drop the likes of Santi Cazorla and Alexis Sanchez for this game? The reason for that being is I don't think he's a player that's going to get too tired out in this game. I see Ozil as a player that could play a lot of fixtures in a congested period and still perform at the highest level. He's very subtle in his approach, and it's good to see that in our past 2 or so fixtures he's been one of the players that has been running around the pitch the most, which is great to see. I don't want him to get tired, but I think he's looking a lot fitter, a lot healthier. I think if anything we need to keep him in the squad, keep his confidence up. He had a great game at Everton, although he may not have appeared on the pitch. He got 2 fantastic assists. I think it's crucial that he plays in this game, and I think with him and Rosicky playing in a 4-1-4-1 pivot, I think that'll be very exciting going forward, and Rosicky can provide that box-to-box midfield role, as well as that Chamberlain and Walcott on the flanks. I think that kind of picks itself in this game. Sanchez evidently needs a rest. Walcott hasn't really been playing for us recently, and I think he's one of our key players, and I think it's crucial that he gets in the team and builds his confidence. We can't forget that since he's come back into the side, although chances have been limited for him, he's been scoring goals and creating assists. So he's a big player for us, and I'd like to see him feature in this game for sure. And Danny Welbeck was brought to Arsenal to play in that striking role, and I want to see him given a chance there in this game. Chamberlain as well had a very influential game against Everton, and rightly he deserves a chance in this fixture. Monreal, of course, coming back in for Kieran Gibbs, rightly so. Coquelin, if he's available, I'd love to see him wearing a face mask in this game. It would just really sum up his mentality, and hopefully he'll pass fit for this game. If not, be interesting to see who does play in that central defensive midfield role, because Matthew Flamini is out for this game. So I'm not too sure how it will pan out. The other news is that Aaron Ramsey is coming back into the side, but I don't think he's going to get in it just yet, which is a real great problem to have. Last season, of course, he'd be the first name on the team sheet. I don't hope he starts this game, if I'm being honest, because I think he would disrupt our style of play. Let me know whether you disagree or agree with that in the comments box. Well, a lot of people seem to be pro or anti Ramsey at the moment. Personally, I don't think he should come to the squad just yet. I do certainly think that he should be introduced slowly into the team. He has been out for about a month or so now, and I don't think we should disrupt a system that's working quite well for us at the moment, bar the defeat to Monaco, of course. But it's great to have Ramsey back in the squad just for morale purposes. And we're finally getting a very healthy looking squad at the moment. Once Wilshire's coming back in, once Arteta's come back in, once Debussy's come back in, we'll have practically a fully fit team. Oh yeah, and Bellerin as well. I just think he should be given a rest, because he's the player that's going to be big. He's going to be big, and he's going to need confidence going into the game at United next week. But this is a game that we've got to win if we're to stand a chance at United in a week or so's time. We're in a week's time. If you've enjoyed the video, guys, please do smash that like button, subscribe to Arsenal Fan TV, and do make sure to check out my own channel, AFC Game by Game, and I will speak to you soon, guys.